Yeah, the boys indeed. Well, I want to say that, but I'm not so sure I'm allowed to. Maybe there's going to be some cries of bias in the chat throughout this cast because, well, sorry everybody. You've got 2 Australian casters for the Renegades game. For better or for worse, we'll see what Ninjas in Pyjamas can do. Already we've seen a fairly solid, I would say solid enough performance from them on Nuke. But I did say, if we saw something similar against Renegades, that Renegades would beat them. So I think NiP, while they started okay today, they need to lift. But the same can definitely be said for Renegades.
It's been a while since we saw Renegades play Nuke. I think the last memorable one that I saw them play it on was up against ENCE, which was all the way going back to the Katowice, I think, where they had a pretty convincing win on it. So maybe they haven't got their reps in as of late in terms of officials. In comes this uppers hit from NiP.
It's turned out to work fairly well. Forrest, Dennis, Rez all getting involved in the frags, and Renegades starting to falter just a little bit. Azza will shut the door on Dennis, but the bomb has gone down. So, JKS and Azza, let's see what they are going to be able to do. JKS certainly has been in pretty fine form of late, so there is always a chance that this works out well for them. But let Crow and Get Right have other ideas, and NiP off to a good start.
And they need that good start, in my opinion, Jordan, because you're looking at this map pool. You got your Nuke, Mirage, and Inferno. I think the first two, it's a lot more doable for NiP. Once we start to head over onto Inferno, I'd probably be backing your boys on Renegades to be winning things. So Nuke is a must-win, in my opinion, for NiP heading forward into this series. Second map of Mirage is a map that they play quite a lot recently, and they always have pretty close scorelines, but they have dropped it quite often. So, well, I mean, a shakier one, and you'd say that's a pretty good mount for Renegades as well.
I look at Mirage in particular as one that Renegades should be able to win. The last couple of times that these two teams have played, they have played Mirage, and both times Renegades did actually win that map, albeit in fairly close fashion. So for me, you know, I do expect Nuke actually should go the way of NiP, but Renegades, I would believe, will be able to come back in on Mirage. Now, my one major hang-up, though, for Renegades is that they haven't been able to play with Gratisfaction and Jacob as much as they would have liked. So that may well be a factor, and I think it probably was in that match against MVP. So we'll see whether or not that is going to have an impact against them in this match against NiP. Already on the back foot, it's fair to say.
Wall of smokes from outside allow NiP to slip down secret with most of their players, but just one smoke expended by Gratisfaction is going to slow things down. It looks like he was itching to take a fight by himself with the rest of the ninjas, but unfortunately, things get a little bit smoky around. Obviously, the ninjas are going to prevail there.
I don't know how Liaz has managed to win that aim duel, but Get Right goes down, so we're back to a 4v4. That said, Liaz may as well be dead on that 4 HP. Not a whole lot to speak about for him there. And NiP making good inroads into the B bomb site.
Indeed, they do have the decon control. They've got windows, and they've even got a bloke in Megaton. They've pretty much got the post plant that you would dream of in most scenarios.
I don't even know if Renegades is even particularly keen on retaking this. Like, you can see already on the map a players in T-spawn, a couple in CT, and one just chilling on silo. Renegades aren't even going to go for the retake here, which I think actually might be a smart move. You know, you've got 4 players post-plant on that B bomb site, NiP not concerned at all. You've got guns here for Renegades that they can use in the next round.
They are going to save the next one anyway. They're looking for the 3rd round where they want the utility and the AWP, so giving themselves a decent chance to be able to win the 2nd round by force spying, where you can find a lot of the kills with the pistols and stuff like that.
Yeah, what I will say, though, is that these T-side rounds are actually very important for NiP to get. If you remember when we were watching them up against E United, the T-side was actually pretty difficult for both teams to manage to get anything done. So if they get off to a good start here against Renegades, you know, 4 or 5 on the T half, I'm actually feeling that that's enough. NiP looked really solid on the CT side. It's the T side that let them down in that matchup. So I don't want to see this get too far ahead of Renegades before we start to see them kind of claw their way back here on this CT side.
Would 100% agree with you, at least based on that last map. We're having a bit of a struggle going up against E United. So now, Renegade's going to be pretty much running into this round with just as much firepower as the previous, so Ninjas in Pyjamas need to be careful navigating this one, but once again, they do the same thing. Smoke wall on the outside, they're going to try to make their way down this secret area, and it will just be Gratisfaction once again, waiting for them. But he doesn't have the smoke to be able to drop this time around.
Yeah, last time it didn't work out too well for him, but he does have a CZ in. This fella's pretty sharp. I've watched him play one or twice. Doesn't get the chance to show off the moves this time. Mustachioed Musketeer goes down. For Renegades, it really feels like a sense of deja vu as once again NiP quite cleanly into that B bomb site. At this time even, it's a player advantage for NiP. So if you thought the last round was tough for Renegades to retake B, well, this one's going to be even more so.
Yeah, but they have a lot more incentive to be doing so in this round in particular because they will be buying into the next regardless. So want to be doing some damage over onto that terrorist economy and try to find themselves some kills and stuff like that. Potentially get themselves some exits. 45 seconds on the clock, and NiP are yet to put this bomb down.
Yeah, as it may well be able to cause some problems. With that said, though, there is a smoke for Electro, which is going to shut off his angle, and he just can't quite land these headshots, or even really any shots that he needs at the moment. Not even a little bit of damage done there onto Electro. A lot of those shots looking close, but nonetheless, not enough to really trouble the scorers there from Azza. Now, you can see the rest of the Renegades players are actually saving their guns, and I think more importantly in this instance, their armor.
I mean, you could definitely make that UMP work in certain parts of the map.
Even the Mag 7 to an extent.
There you go, there's one of them.
What was that?
A lot of cash for Jacob to be holding on to, not to mention the fact that potentially JKS could go pick up that AK.
Was it an AK? I thought it was a UMP.
It might have been a UMP.
Yeah, it was a UMP. I mean, still a gun that can go back into the pocket of Renegades.
Yeah,
although
you can make these SMGs work in certain chokes on Nuke. You know, you're playing the top of HUD, or you're playing Squeaky.
Yeah.
Ramp.
Be interested to see what Renegades actually do opt to take through of these three guns.
I mean, if they do hold on to all three of them, then they're definitely playing the sort of long game.
Yeah. I think you definitely keep at least two. Like, you keep the two UMPs, maybe.
Potentially. See what they do opt to do.
JKS has gone for an AUG. So just the one UMP. Okay, fair enough. You don't want to sacrifice too much firepower, especially in the first
keep any of them. Upgrade that one as well. So 4 AUGs across the board. The AWP, they want to be winning this round 100%, get themselves straight into the game.
I mean, then in this case, if you're going to invest in it like this as Renegades, you have to win this round, right?
Well, you'd be wanting to take this gun round away regardless. See. Going to need to string multiple together, not to mention because NiP have been pretty cleanly closing out these anti-ecos despite the firepower that Renegades were purchasing.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, a lot of that firepower just being thrown on the ground and not really making any impact.
Yeah, I mean, really what NiP had to do was essentially walk down to Secret, get the pick onto Gratisfaction, and then that won them the round. I don't think that's going to necessarily be so easy anymore now that the guns are in the hands of Renegades. Let's see what JKS can do. 2-man spray down to start things off. That's fantastic. Of a start for the first gun round, at least for Renegades. NiP maybe a little shaky. Bomb's going to go back in toward radio. Here's Rez continuing to repeat this. He certainly is. And JKS, well, he's farming up a storm here. Thank you very much. Some more fantasy points for Elfish Guy. Satisfaction, though, will go down.
Yep.
Still a chance in the round here for NiP, particularly when Dennis and Forrest are alive. We saw them having pretty good games earlier on today.
Right from the start of the round, they sent Grat towards that secret area, so potentially him expecting, or Renegades in general, expecting NiP to go straight for that secret control again, but instead they went for that ramp contact and completely shut down by JKS, who very dangerous player. A lot of the time you put one of your, how do I say it, like less skilled aimers towards ramp, someone to just fall down into lowers. When you come up against someone like JKS in that part of the map, you might not be ready for him to just spray down your entire team.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's probably one of the more skilled aimers that you would see on Renegades, and Leos and JKM will be able to clean things up pretty comfortably. That's a very good round, Pilly, especially considering the investment that we saw from Renegades. They wanted to take a lot of those guns through. They wanted to win that round, and they most certainly have done that.
Very, very clean state of affairs for Renegades, holding on to a lot of their weaponry and guns. It's going to start to build up their economy on the CT side here. Over on the side of NiP, should be able to buy into this one, but their economy will definitely start to be lacking heading forward if they do lose this next T gun round again. Didn't really feel like they had a good run of things in the last one in particular, where they just went for that ramp contact, got completely shut down. So this time going to go back to what we saw them doing a lot against the United, which is the smokes on towards outside, as well as Get Right's trying to sneak down the vent, and does do so successfully. And with Dennis and Get Right so quickly making their way down vent and towards this secret area, JKS, if he's not careful, could definitely get caught off guard here for the Renegades, and they need to very, very carefully maneuver these rotates around the map on the CT side, because NiP have a lot of important map control at this point.
With that said, Renegades definitely are aware that there is players down toward the B bomb site right now, but where exactly they are does remain to be seen, at least as far as the Renegades are concerned.
So Renegades not with a really active approach in response to this secret control and the vent shop. Usually you see a lot of teams get aggressive and go take that lobby control or push radio. Over on the side of Renegades, they seem quite content just sitting where they are and waiting for something to come out from NiP. You do see the aggression come into lobby though. Just the 2 players pushed in towards Hut, not the full control. And there you go, JKS finding Get Right in that lowers area of the map.
It's a really important kill for Renegades to be able to get. does relieve quite a bit of pressure. Now, the next question is going to be what Azza can do here from Annex. Does connect the first shot, but actually, Rez is going to win the aim battle. That's not great for Renegades. What is great, though, is the lobby control that they do have. And with 25 seconds here on the clock for NiP, difficult to get into those bomb sites and get the bombs down.
They have full information about where NiP can and can't be, which is going to really inform the rotates for Renegades here, but still 2 players towards this lower bomb site at this point.
Gratisfaction cleans up Rez, does actually just back around the corner, avoiding the trade. 9 seconds on the clock here. Can NiP even get the bomb down? Looks like they will. But there's so many Renegades players so close to this bomb site that this is really the ideal setup that you want to start off your retake. If Gratisfaction goes down, however, that is going to be problematic. And it seems as though Renegades are just waiting, biding their time for the perfect opportunity. Gratisfaction will start to push his way in with the AWP, but doesn't expect Lekro, still manages to hit the shot. And this may well be another frag for him. Indeed it is. Gratisfaction, very nicely done, walking his way into the bomb site.
Oh my god, I could have seen that go the way of NiP almost every day of the week.
Yeah.
Some clean shots being hit towards Hut, and they just play off of that Heaven player and the players on the site and force those CTs to actually cross to the bomb site. But wasn't to be. Gratisfaction just walks out of the Hut and uses the AWP like a shotgun.
I mean, I've seen this kid play before, and he goes okay.
Yeah, he's not bad. Needs to work on his mustache game, but all things considered, not a bad AWPer.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, people are probably going to hate on us for ripping on his mustache, but let's be honest. It's got nothing on Max.
It's true. Get a bit more wax in there, a bit more thickness perhaps. Regardless.
Although I do have a sneaking suspicion that the power of Gratisfaction is held within the mustache, so if he shaves it off, I'll actually be a little bit disappointed.
Could be. Was a bit shaky in his immunity days before he was growing that thing.
That's fairly solid from Liaz, although it is just against the pistols, so nothing to get too excited about. That's not ideal. Lekro with the AK being able to have an impact. If he can find another one here, it's a winnable round for NiP, but at the moment, still within the stronghold of Renegades.
Definitely is. It's basically just a question of damage here for the Ninjas. 2 Deagles and an AK. Try to potentially take as many guns away from the Renegades as they can. As you can see, their economy hasn't fully built up just yet. They're not absolutely rolling, as it were. You do just have Lekro going on a bit of a venture towards Secret. Unfortunately, his teammates aren't really in any kind of a position to be able to group up with him at this point.
Ooh, missed shot here from Gratisfaction. Will allow NiP a little bit more room to work with. Another one?
It's only really JKS who's in a position to be able to punish this lowest push coming out. Can't believe Grat's got away with that.
Yeah. Is he going to continue to get away with it? That is the question. Forrest, if he continues to push on forward here, all he needs is one bullet, and he's going to get that straight in the head anyway. Didn't matter how much HP Gratisfaction had there. And now we're into a 3v3. A couple of guns have been dropped over to NiP. Like I said, it's a doable round for them. That will be a bit of a spanner in the works, though, as Forrest will fall. But with that said, the bomb is being planted. And Rez has hit a fantastic shot now onto JKS. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves here. Renegades, they're falling apart. It's just Azza left alive in a 1v2 now. And while neither of these players for NiP have the armor available to them, they have good post-plant positions, and Azza has absolutely no idea where they are. And that'll be Rez with the deagle in the back of the head to Azza. That is not a round that you want to be losing as Renegades.
It's a Rez special right there. The young, talented aimer. Just 2 deagle bullets is all he really needs. Just clicks on 2 of those Renegades players' heads, and that's all there was. Just deletes them out of the server. Pretty impressive stuff from NiP to be able to navigate that 3-on-3 as well and just find the holes in the rotations from Renegades.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, you've got to go back and look at those 2 shots that Gratisfaction misses on Outer, and you say, okay, that has an impact on the round.
For sure.
That's 4 rounds on the T side already here for NiP, and I said, like, okay, 4 or 5 rounds, you're probably looking at a pretty pass score already.
Yeah.
This is looking like a decent start for NiP, and anything further that they get is going to be much more difficult for Renegades to deal with, obviously.
Shutting down some of these NiP players, or rather NiP player in towards upper, but NiP that just goes straight towards ramp room, and Dennis as well punishes Gratisfaction rotating towards outer. There you go. It feels like NiP's just reading these rotations perfectly.
Yeah, certainly. Not the start that Renegades were looking for. Jacob electing not to take the shots onto Forrest. I'm not sure if he actually saw him or if he was through the decon door. Hard to tell sometimes with the X-ray. Whatever the case, Jacob is unlikely to win the round. maybe even, one would say, unlikely to be able to save this M4. As you can see, Dennis waiting for him at the top of Secret on outer. But Jacob will not continue any further, so at least it looks like he will take the M4 through in the round.
Looks like a completely different NiP that we saw up against the United
Perhaps
at this point.
JK comes out, but the headshot is not connected.
5 rounds already on the T side, when earlier today they were struggling to put rounds on the board. Just goes to show you that earlier, bit of an anomaly, bit of a slow start for NiP on Nuke.
Yeah.
This time around, they're not playing around. They're here.
Yeah,
they're ready for the Renegades.
Well, they're ready for them on Nuke, but there's still another couple of maps in this series, and obviously this map's nowhere near over. Obviously a slow start for Renegades, but you never know what they can do if they get the ball rolling. I think, again, that's another thing that we look at for Renegades. I feel as though they are a bit of a momentum-based team. Certainly was something that we used to talk about with the former rosters. With this new roster, maybe to a bit of a lesser extent, but even still.
All right, so it's going to have to be the save coming out of Renegades. Ninjas have taken control of the economy game, and you do see their money start to build up. So if they make this a nice and clean round for themselves, they're going to start to get even more cash on the T side, and they're going to be absolutely cruising in terms of being able to buy the rest of this T side. That's going to be Renegades playing the CT side on hard mode. Every single time they go into a buy round, they face the chance of being reset. Whereas the Ninjas, if they do lose a round here or there, they should be totally fine to be able to buy into most of them. As long as this one's nice and clean from them. It's just, again, the wall of smokes and the walk into Secret as an anti-eco. It's working so far. Get Right just lurking over towards the back of lobby as well as the silo, trying to catch any of the CTs getting a bit cheeky.
Yeah, and poor Gratisfaction once again has the difficult job of holding off all of the Ninjas, with the exception of Get Right. But a 4v1 when he's only got the P250, not sure about that. Headshot's not quite being connected here. Eventually he'll finish off Dennis, which is probably about as good as he could have hoped for. Azza is actually behind Get Right. Should be a free kill for him, but whiffs a couple, and that sometimes happens. Jacob will finish it off. So we're into a 3v3. Renegades may well allow this bomb plant to go down if JKS can find some magic here against Forest. Who knows? Of course not. It's never going to happen, but Jacob, with the AK, having the impact on Derez, this will be the kind of round that Renegades needs to win to get back into the first half, just to make amends for the round that they lost against NiP just a little bit earlier. Lots of angles still yet to check here on the B bomb site, but a fair bit of time to play with as the flashbangs do come on through. No idea where Necro is, and he'll shut down 2. A 6-2 now for NiP.
So not as clean as they potentially would have liked on that anti-eco going up against the Renegades, especially considering they got such clean control of the Secret. A couple of sloppy shots missed allow Renegades a couple extra opportunities to be able to take these guns away from the Ninjas, which is going to make their economy a little bit less stable than it potentially could be. Just going to give Renegades an opportunity to string a couple gun rounds together and actually reset the economy of NiP rather than them having an absolute economy that's balling out of control that Renegades, doesn't really matter what they do. Looks like a change of the pace coming out from NiP. Fast one out, squeaky in towards upper.
Azza ready and prepared, gets himself up on top of Hut, but it's just not enough damage done by him. Needs the backup of the remaining players. Gratisfaction will fall to Dennis, and that again is going to swing the numbers in the favour of NiP. 3v2. Liaz and JKS left here for Renegades. They know that JKS is up high in heaven. He'll take the peek out of Rafters off the back of that flashbang. Liaz gives away his position as JKS falls. There's almost no chance now for Liaz to be able to get anything done here, even if it was going to get easier for them. The Molotov could have come through to that vent position. Liaz will finally fall to res. 7-2 for NiP.
Really building up the momentum, but with that momentum, Renegades' loss bonus starts to build up. They can't buy in this one, but they can potentially invest in some pistols and armor or something like that. Give themselves an opportunity to take some of the guns away from NiP, but you have to say, with 7 rounds on the T side, getting pretty close to a dangerous sort of scoreline and a dangerous set of affairs for Renegades.
Probably feel like it's already at that point.
Looking at then moving into the 8th round potentially, although there's push on outers.
Yeah, Liaz is here, so to his Azza. Gratisfaction, there's a lot of Renegades players there, but NiP do end up winning those aim duels. JKS couldn't win his against Get Right. So it's just Jacob. He may well get himself a free one here on to get right with that Mag 7 if he gets the timing right, which, I mean, to an extent, I guess he did, because he gets the kill, but sacrifices a lot of his HP, and this is going to have to be a bit of a magical clutch from him. 2v1. Have to tap away at some heads with the AK here, and can't even get the first onto Forest. It's looking great for NiP right now.
100%. So this is pretty much do or die in this half. They don't want to let NiP get onto 10 rounds for the Renegades. They need to start to put some rounds on the board. And haven't really seen Gratisfaction get too involved in things, really. He's kind of just been that guy they send down towards lower, and they want him to control that area of the map. Haven't really seen him pick outside too much or bring the AWP towards ramp room. No real aggressive setups being noted from Renegades thus far. Just very stock standard, same kind of people in the same parts of the map time and time again. This time he's in towards the squeaky area, cupping a bit of damage from the Molotov.
Do you feel as though Gratisfaction is a win condition here for Renegades?
Could be the case. I think on Nuke it's sometimes a little bit harder to get things rolling with that AWP from time to time. So this time around, he will again make his way down towards lowers after peeking in towards Squeaky, and the pressure will be on ramp. And since JKS multi-fragged in that first gun round, there hasn't really been much for him to do. Here's an opportunity for him to get it done again.
Yeah, well, you can bet your bottom dollar that there is going to be utility expended over here from NiP. There comes the flashbang. It does blind JKS, not too much, but the second fully flashes JKS. And there's no hope for him at all. Just on his own there in ramp room. Doesn't even have anyone playing anti-flash. Jacob, at the very least, will get right, who was lurking his way out onto A. And Azza, on the B bomb site, has managed to grab 2. A third almost lines up for him there as well. But this round definitely looking much better for Renegades. The individuals now starting to get those aim battles working.
Definitely was Azza doing the majority of the work, though, from that site position. Obviously, NiP got themselves a massive advantage in the earlier parts of the round, getting JKS for free, but since then, it's just multi-frags coming out in multitudes for the Renegades, and they survive with 4 players alive, which they're going to need to have some pretty clean gun rounds to start to move their way back in towards this half, because NiP, I mean, they have lost guns here and there. These rounds have not been the cleanest, so they probably only have a good, maybe one to two buys in them until they could potentially get reset.
Yeah, perhaps a bit of a confidence settler there, though, for Renegades. Things were really going against them. Now they have a good gun round under their belt, or another good gun round under their belt, I suppose. It's going to be NiP once again that will change up the pace. The A rushes have worked, but this time actually it's Get Right that's going to go lower very, very quickly. Are they aware? Is Gratisfaction aware? It certainly seems like he is. Definitely is now that that flashbang has been thrown through, but this is not a favourable aim duel for Gratisfaction with that AWP.
Very, very weird position that they've been put in, and Azza goes down to help him, but Get Right's very well aware. Jacob getting work done in towards lobby. This is a very weird round.
Well, he needs the kill on Electro, and he needs to spin around and get more, but not even the one on Electro is going to be available to him. This is another gun round where Renegades are just getting utterly decimated.
And again, it feels like NiP, when things get sloppy, when you know, we get into this sort of mid-round portion of the game, they're reading the rotations way better and punishing Renegades for putting a foot in any wrong direction.
I definitely
time again.
I look at these quicker rounds out from NiP, and I see those are the ones that are working so well.
It really just is. Like, NiP, they put emphasis or pressure in some part of the map, or one of their players gets a pick, and then it literally just is Renegades falling like dominoes. You see these NiP players, you know, one of them's holding on silo, one of them's putting pressure on ramp room, and they're catching a Renegades player trying to rotate into a different part of the map based on the initial pressure or the initial pick that's being taken by NiP, and they just take full advantage of it. This time, blow open the squeaky door, put pressure on this upper bomb site, which is going to pull multiple players in, both of the uppers players and the annex player looking at that part of the map. Meanwhile, NiP, pretty defensive posturing from them thus far, not really going for anything too crazy just yet. So holding onto this lobby area and potentially punishing Renegades for getting too aggressive. Now going to start to make their way towards that outers area and line up the wall of smokes to send Dennis down this secret area once again. And we will see what the go is from NiP, whether they do back him down that secret area or whether they'll potentially go towards upper or that ramp room. Looks like they are falling back towards lobby.
Action forced away by the Molotov.
Here we go again. It looks like NiP slowly inching over towards that ramp room potentially, or no? Just waiting in towards lobby.
Well, whatever the case, it certainly is a much slower round out for NiP. And in the slower rounds, that's where Renegades have had the better time than in the quicker rounds. I won't say they've had the better of it, but it's definitely been a little more favourable for Renegades on the slow rounds, where they've been able to set themselves up. But Forrest gets out for free. Liaz at least able to get rid of Rez. Jacob, a little bit of a whiff, but he's going to be saved as well by Liaz, or at least traded out. Either way, that is good enough for Renegades. It's a 3v1. Dennis, with 20 seconds, like, he's not going to be able to win this round. He could do some damage, that's for sure. Look at how low Renegade's economy is at the moment. They do not want to drop another gun right now. With that damage from the grenade, it's unlikely that they will.
Big difference in that round for Renegades is really just the fact that NiP, they expend that wall of smokes, but they never actually got the secret control that time. Gratisfaction had control, and he was never really pressured or threatened over on ramp. JKS, he was still sitting in the corner of ramp room. No one took ramp room control. No one really threatened him too much, which allowed Renegades to just lean on this upper bomb site and sit in their positions. They never had to second guess themselves. They never had to hesitate or rotate. And then there was no real gaps for ninjas to take advantages of. So when they did get the entries really cleanly into that upper bomb site and the trades came back and forth, Renegades just cleanly won the round with a pretty stock standard setup.
It's a tactical timeout there for NiP. What do you suppose they're talking about? Like, obviously, they've just lost that round, right? So they're up 9-4. They're saying, okay, boys, let's make sure this first half is, like, really clean. You know, we can make this 10, we can make this 11, and that pretty much wins us the map. I mean, 9 obviously is fantastic on the T side of Nuke.
Maybe potentially they're letting themselves know that, you know, the last game that they played in the first group, they very much slowed down when they had a big lead.
Yeah.
And they let things get away from themselves. Maybe it's exactly what you say. Just make sure they close things out nice and clearly. They make the most of this lead that they've got themselves. This time around, it is the wall of smokes being expended once again by NiP. Gratisfaction, the one to contest it.
Yeah, Grat really has not even had any opportunity to push this out of line at all. And the grenade just lands right on his face. Cop that.
Gets double dunked. He's a very good catcher for someone who's from New Zealand. Yeah. Excellent fielding from the man. And unfortunately, that's not a good thing in this this game in particular. Maybe in other games it might be. And then NiP, they're going to make their way down the secret area. Start to pressure this part of the map. Man disadvantage for the Renegades. NiP now throwing those outer smokes. The smoke onto windows and annex, as well as the molly into credit card and heaven, as they... Usually that would indicate the pressure in towards warehouse, but in this case, NiP's using it to sort of control Renegades' rotations, and now we'll send... get right over towards that under heaven area. So this is excellent positions from NiP. They have secret control. They have this player over towards heaven, and Renegades haven't pushed lobby, so they don't really know that NiP aren't in that part of the map. They are very much just without any info, and they've lost a lot of key parts of the map. Yeah. NiP can do anything they want right now.
You're really relying on Renegades at this point to win quite a few individual aim battles. JKS on the B bomb site, Liaz maybe around heaven, or hell I should say. JKS only gets the one. He really needed multiple there. Get Right has lurked himself out onto rafters, but can't actually connect the shots onto Jacob, which is a little bit of a saving grace for Renegades. Still he's causing problems up on the A bomb site while Liaz makes his way down to B. It's all across the map, going the way of NiP.
And that's what NiP have been doing time and time again. They just create pressure in one part of the map, and while Renegades are reacting to that, they get punished. They get shot in the side constantly this entire half, and it's just been excellent work for NiP. Really shutting the Renegades down. It's going to be pretty demoralizing to play against at this point. So it's going to be down 10-4 for the Renegades. Half of their players are going to really struggle to buy into this one.
And that's not going to help.
So next round's going to be pretty sketchy for Renegades to be coming away with, potentially, because, you know, 3 to 3.7k on 3 of their players. The other 2 should be able to buy a little bit more cleanly. But no really crazy utility, a pretty lackluster weaponry on most of the lads. This is looking like what could be an 11-4 lead for NiP. And you are 100% right. Gratisfaction this entire half, he's just been playing a role with the AWP. He hasn't been taking control of the game. He's been going towards that secret and lower area time and time again. And regardless of what NiP are doing, they're throwing the utility, whether it's the Molotovs or the HE grenades in that part of the map, and he never really gets the opportunity to be able to peek out from secret and get any kind of a pick.
Well, it doesn't feel like Gratisfaction has existed in this half, and I don't think that's necessarily a knock on him, but more so the emphasis that NiP have been putting on his position has just made it so impossible, really, for him to actually get any control of outer, and he's been relegated to sitting down toward the B bomb site with an AWP. It's just not ideal at all for Renegades. 4 rounds is not enough on this second half, or going into the second half. I mean, even 5 is not. I don't necessarily think it's over just yet for Renegades, right? It's never over until it's over.
This 5th round definitely would make the comeback a little bit easier, but with the weaponry and utility that they've got, it's pretty unlikely.
Yep.
NiP again, wall of smokes on outside, Molotov into the secret, just running the stock standard play that's been winning for them time and time again. And once again, this time it's actually JKS in towards that lower area to be able to deal with these players on NiP. Gratisfaction's on ramp duty, and he's going to hold the off angle with the AWP, but NiP again in towards this lower area. JKS, good luck holding 3 T players with AK-47s when you've got a FAMAS and no utility.
Yeah, I mean, if you had a grenade to soften them up, that'd be nice, but this is going to be very difficult indeed for JKS. He gets hit in the head through the floor, and that's going to be enough to deal with him. Now it's Gratisfaction, just gets timed really by Forest. And nothing going right for Renegades at all on this CT side. That is fair to say.
So looking like a pretty dominant scoreline here from the Ninjas. Renegades is getting shut down right and left. They were never able to cleanly rotate. They were never able to inform their play whatsoever. NiP just controlled it right from start to finish. Now heading into their CT side, it's going to have to be some kind of a magnificent performance from Renegades on this T side to close things out.
That is going to be very difficult, I think, for Renegades to come back from 11-4 there in the first half. It looks like all of NiP hitting their shots. No one really stepping up on the Renegades side, but of course, there is still one more half to play, and always a chance that Renegades can come back. We'll find out in a bit.
On my own, when you spill that rum and coke on my t-shirt, yeah, your eyes made it difficult to get my baby. And the next thing I knew, we were so ready to give in, skin to skin on that baseline. Ooh, you give me that high-pitched feel, baby. We shared a cigarette by East Versailles. The way you looked at me, couldn't say goodbye. And whatever you did to make it stop, 'cause baby, you make me feel something. And the next thing I knew, we were so ready to give in, skin to skin on that baseline. Ooh, you give me that high-pitched feel, baby. We shared a cigarette by East Versailles. The way you looked at me, couldn't say goodbye. And whatever you did to make it stop, 'cause baby, you make me feel something.
Welcome back. Nice little song playing in the break there. Apparently, request from Mr. Chad Sponge Birchall. Hope he enjoyed it. As we head into the second half here, I mean, I'm not so sure that he's going to be enjoying how things are going for Renegades, Pilly. It hasn't started off the way that they would have wanted here on Nuke. Certainly looking to see how they're going to go in the second half, but with only 4 rounds on the T side, it seems unrealistic to expect that they're going to be able to come back in this map.
Well, it all starts from the T pistol. Already not off to a good start. Forest and Electro just shutting them down.
I'm not sure what you can do about that one as Renegades. It's now time for Azure and Gratisfaction to hit some magical shots, because if not the case, then I'd say that's the round over and probably the map over as well.
The heads are just popping left and right here for the Renegades, and he has managed to pick up the bomb and recover that, but he doesn't have armor to be working with. With the ninjas closing in all around, it's going to be pretty difficult for him. There you go. There's one headshot for him. If any of these other NiP players get a little bit over-aggressive, it could potentially give him more of an opening in this round, but I'd imagine that his chances are pretty slim.
Yeah, you'd expect so. Gratisfaction going to run out of bullets here. We'll get the reload off at 7 HP. No chance at all. And the pistol round goes the way of NiP. It just goes from bad to worse for Renegades at the moment.
Definitely does. Unfortunately, we will see if they're going to try to do some kind of a weird force into this round, but on the T side of Nuke, going to be pretty hard to convert something like that. Although I have seen some teams like ENCE really force after losing the T side pistol and just rush upper and catch their opponents off guard if they haven't brought the correct utility in towards that side of the map. But I'm not sure that Renegades will really have the depth to do something like that on a map like Nuke, and they will just save and go for the AKs in the next round, so potential for NiP to move up to their 13th round. And if you do see Forest or Get Right getting a lot of kills, then that could be some potential money in the bank here for NiP.
Well, there's 1-2 apiece. It's not looking great for Renegades, obviously. Just the pistols, we're not expecting that round to do a whole lot for Renegades, but now they're down 13-4, 9 the deficit. It is going to have to be a monumental T-half here from Renegades to make this one close.
100%. Only an MP7 lost. And I mean, I don't know about you, Jordan, but looking on some of those player cams when they were scrolling across the Renegades boys, I could see some very droopy eyes and get a little bit tired.
Well, it is getting a little bit late.
And looking tired in their gameplay as well at this point. But hopefully they can start to pick things up.
I don't think it necessarily is something to kind of take note of on Nuke, right? But I'd like to see them get a little bit of momentum headed into Mirage.
JKS, quick one straight down the vent.
Well, they do like that, Renegades.
Yep. And they're going to go for the ramp contact off the back of that. Electro.
It's just lined up too. Gratisfaction at least will be able to get the trade. And now I think it really relies on JKS being able to find some work here in lower. But Dennis's position just completely unknown. Gratisfaction can't get the kill fast enough to save Azza. And now the bomb plant, a little risky considering there is a player coming from ramp room, but Gratisfaction will get it down, and obviously we don't see Rez decide to push.
On JKS to go walkabout here and find the kills, and there's the first one onto Forest.
That's good. Rez going to try and make something happen. Gets the flick across, although it hits the floor. Shaky aim indeed, but Renegades definitely putting some pressure onto NiP in this round in particular. It's on to Gratisfaction to clutch it out. Not a lot of time left to play with. Get Right defusing in the smoke. Gratisfaction won't hit the shots, and that'll be the round for NiP. Gratisfaction, well, it's a wooden spoon prize getting the kill on to Get Right there, because that is a round that Renegades so desperately needed. And NiP now 2 rounds away from map 1.
Wow. Unfortunately, not able to close that one out, and now Get Right's going to buy himself the auto shotgun and continue the potential dominance here for NiP. But Renegades have got a bit of loss bonus built up. Combined in with the bomb plant, we'll be able to get a decent buy across the board in this round. It's not easy map point here for NiP straight away, but they definitely are in the driver's seat. And there you go, Dennis with the AWP this time, shutting things down towards outer, picks up Jacob.
Renegades just wondering what to do at this point. Gratisfaction and Liaz, brothers in arms, really. The two coming most recently into the Renegades roster, standing behind the red crate, but there's nowhere to go. Dennis and Rez locking down every angle.
Potentially wondering what to do in the next map at this point, Jordan, because they're getting absolutely shut down.
Doesn't look like Gratisfaction can see too well through that smoke.
Maybe.
Well, he has certainly spotted Dennis rotating into hell, but for all the good it's going to do him, JKS and Gratisfaction, again, I'll say it, you know, they have to have a monumental clutch here, but it's just not happening at the moment for Renegades here on Nuke.
Forrest just leading everybody on every single angle, which is what we saw earlier against the United as well on the CT side, but he doesn't even have an opportunity to do that just yet on the T side for the most part. And now that it's come down to the CT side, yeah, he's had one round to do it. That's good.
Yeah. Map point, of course, for NiP here. And you've got to say, Nuke is their map choice.
Yep.
So,
and it hasn't been a map that Renegades haven't really had the opportunity to play too much recently. Yeah. I've been looking through their recent series. For the most part, has been pretty much a non-factor. A lot of Mirage and Inferno, a little bit of Cash and Train and Dust too, but very, very few reps on Nuke as of late, actually.
Yeah, and one of the better in the pool for NiP, although, you know, you never really know when it comes to NiP, do you? But it's certainly the map we've seen them play twice today, so they're comfortable enough to let it go through here at IEM Sydney. So that speaks for itself, I think, and also this result against Renegades is pretty respectable at this point. It's just a matter of closing it out here with a really clean win. Don't let Renegades back into this map, and don't let Renegades back into this matchup.
Yeah, it's potentially a question of momentum here, and Renegades, they're going to grab that momentum by trying to put JKS down the vent. But if Renegades are able to put some rounds on the board here, then that could make them more confident heading into the next map.
Nice flashbangs out onto the A bomb site, courtesy of Gratisfaction. It's going to allow Jacob a couple on the entry, but get right, he's absolutely swindled himself all the way through Squeaky. He's out in lobby right now. Is he going to be able to have the impact quickly enough? In fact, it seems like Renegades and NiP have kind of done a ring around the rosy, as all of a sudden they're back to, well, standard fare, except the bomb is stuck in the bomb site.
At the moment, there is a crossfire to be able to hold on to that, but Gratisfaction breaks one half of it. Actually flashes himself, and that's it. Anticlimactic end to things. Rez just closes things out from that CT vent, and it's a 16-4 for NiP. Dominant performance on Nuke, and it's the start that we want to see if you're an NiP fan, wanting them to take away the series and head straight in towards Qudos.
Yeah, absolutely. Remember, this is a qualification match for bare minimum the quarterfinals. Winner of the upper bracket does play off and make their way to the semis. That could be Liquid, that could be NiP, could still be RNG. We'll see how they go, of course, in the next map, but we'll be back after the break.